Yes, so Hairless here. Today we're back with Home Free and Peter Hollens. A couple of weeks ago I first heard Peter Hollens in his cover of The Sound of Silence with Home Free's very own Tim. I absolutely loved that. If you haven't seen my video on that, please do check it out, card up here. I saw this performance that we're about to do recommended in the comments of the Sound of Silence video a lot. It's from 2020, so it's a lockdown performance recorded in those very, very strange times of quarantine. It is, of course, a cover of U2's famous song, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, from 1987. This one definitely caught my eye because it apparently contains a Hollens fam choir, which is a choir comprised of Peter Hollens' patrons. So they would have sent in a video of them singing, and apparently there's quite a lot of them. So I'm very curious to see how it works. It must have taken some immense studio editing. One thing I did notice from the Sound of Silence cover was the use of layering and multi-tracking, and there were a lot of comments saying that Peter Hollens is a master of it. I always find the use of the word master quite interesting because it's kind of indirectly saying that someone is pretty much the best at it. You know, you don't get many masters of any craft. So yeah, very intrigued, very interested to see what this is about. I think let's get straight into it.
I have climbed highest mountains. I have run through the fields only to be with you. Only to be with you. I have run, I have crawled, I have scaled these city walls, only to be with you. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
This is a nice one, isn't it? Just so feel good. And I think it's very ironic why it's feel good because of a number of reasons that I'll talk about in a bit. And it's interesting musically as well. Again, for reasons I'll talk about in a bit. As always, if you don't want to hear my thoughts, you can skip them by going to the timestamp here. So the opening visuals immediately hit you right in the feels. It's a photo of them pre-COVID, I guess. And now they've become a face on a screen, which was how many people existed to others, unfortunately, at the time. This would also, very unfortunately, probably be how many people saw each other for the very last time. Just a face on a screen because of the lockdown. So, you know, it's very happy, a photo, arms around each other, and they're still so happy and joyous in the videos, but I think the undertones, I don't know, I just find it quite emotional. Okay, that out of the way. To the music. They're singing in the key of B, whereas the original song is in C sharp. So they're singing a little bit lower. I imagine it's probably to make it a bit nicer for the patrons to sing, and also if you have Tim on board, then lower is better because you can get more out of that rich bass sound. So the opening from a music point of view, what a job they do of imitating that guitar. The standout note for me there is the 7th note of the scale. The 7th note is basically one below the root you're in, so our root here is B. So the 7th note is this A sharp up here. If you listen out for that, it's... And we do get that in the original as well. The original, like I said, is in a different key. So here it sounds like... And in Home Free's version... It is very standout and it comes a lot later on, so listen out for that as we kind of go on. So Tim opens with the melody, which is interesting, but to be honest, it's not that surprising actually, because we know that this performance is about unity, togetherness, bringing people together. So it makes sense to pass the melody around. Everyone gets a go. Also, start low with Tim, an octave below where the original starts, and then we can move on to the others who have a naturally higher voice. So it's not this kind of moving up, down between the parts. Also, it fits in with the idea that we often see where you start low and then as the song progresses and builds up, it moves higher in pitch. So the arrangement, from what I've seen so far, is the type of arrangement where there's not much going on, but at the same time there's so much going on. You can listen to it over and over and over and focus on a different part each time, and every time it will be like discovering a new voice. Here, for example, be with you, be with you. So there's three different parts that we're hearing, and if we put them together we get this chord. But it goes to show that you don't need a million parts to create this feeling of complexity. In this case, it's the rhythms of each part. They're conflicting with each other by nature, but together they're creating this intricate motion of movement, which is what I think maintains the energy in a relatively harmonically static segment of the music at this point. Alright, and then we get Peter's entry comes in next, up the octave now. Suddenly the music seems a bit more powerful, a bit more energized, but it hasn't really changed. There are barely any differences in the music underneath provided by Home Free. It just goes to show that which voice type you choose and where you choose it, how transformative it can be. And of course we get Adam now entering with a tiny little bit of a beat. Also, what a photo this is. And on that note, the video in general, I like it. It's not too serious, it's quite jokey. Like this bit, for example. But it's still powerful in its message of togetherness during a time of separation. Also, whilst we're on the topic of the video, shout out to Dog. And there was another cat here. This cat, part of the patron choir, we only see once the patron choir enters. Their entry, wow, powerful moment. That's a lot more people than I expected. Even if there are scores of them or hundreds of them, all with their volume turned right down, you can't question the power created by just having numbers. So then the next solo entry comes through Rob. I have kissed honey lips. Which again is just upping the variety that we hear a little bit. We hear a bit more of a new beat again through Adam, and also Tim enters on a B1, an octave below that, extremely low, and his part is rhythmic. Dum, dum, dum. It's almost militaristic in terms of how regimented this arrangement is. The music is still the same at a fundamental level. We're 1 minute in, but we're just adding in more a bit by bit, which is the beauty of multi-tracking. And its root, the original song, it is just quite a static song. So it's no surprise that the arrangement is, but we know that the arrangement doesn't have to be, well, at least from what I saw from The Sound of Silence. So I think that there's a reason that it's done in such a way. Well, a few reasons. One, any change that we do see is now more noticeable, whether it's a choir entry or just a new part, or it's changing the beat. Two, it's maintaining the feeling of community togetherness. If this were an English essay, I might be inclined to say it's redolent of the monotony of lockdown, the same thing over and over. And three, the lyrics, I mean, even just the title, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. It's a journey that's not completed, this ongoing thing. Next entry we get Austin. Going back to this idea of gradually increasing the variety, gradually increasing the energy. If we compare to Rob's solo, the music is the same. So why does it now seem a bit more energized for Austin's solo? It's Adam. Now his beats are accentuating Tim's equal rhythm in the bass part. Dum, dum. And also Adam here has upped his beat game a bit. It's a small change, but enough to feel the change, all whilst keeping the same idea of the journey going. And then just before we carry on, I just want to drive in the idea again of how the music structurally is the same. We're using the same musical idea from the start. The chords of the original song are pretty much as static as you're likely to ever see without just being one chord all the way through. But even so, with a cappella arrangements, you'd expect some kind of different sections, like we saw with The Sound of Silence. Every section just seemed to be completely different from the previous. It's probably best to demonstrate using one particular phrase, and that is the phrase that I said to look out for right at the beginning. That seventh note. Those two notes there. We can still hear it, like even at this point. A bit harder to hear, but it's definitely there. Alright, let's carry on.
Hope you guys enjoyed this. This was such an incredible experience. Every single face you saw singing with us.
Well, I mean, there's so much going on there, just looking at all the videos, and that actually made me a bit emotional. You can probably see by my eyes. I really wouldn't have expected that song to do that. Give me 10 seconds to recompose myself. Yeah, I mean, nice arrangement, nothing too fancy, but there is still some cool stuff to mention. Just quite powerful, the idea of community togetherness at trying times. So yeah, very well done, very well done. Right, so from where we continued Rob's entry, it's nice that from this point the patrons are then pretty much shown for the whole rest of the video in some form or another. They were brought in slowly at the start, you know, first one line here, then a couple of lines there, and now throughout the rest of the song they're included. Alright. Sorry, I could watch this video 100 times and just still notice something different. Look at a different person each time. Look at Spock, the teddy bear here. And then another cat here. But of course, the best singer of all was this dog here. Or maybe this one here. And then I noticed there were another couple, and I noticed a boy putting sunglasses on a puppet or something. It's just funny, you know, people aren't taking themselves seriously. They're just enjoying the moment and just sending these videos in, and they're being included. So I think it's great to see. So then we get Peter's second entry. Now we do kind of hear like the first significant change that we've heard, other than the choir entering for the first time. This is in terms of musical texture. Now it's been reduced significantly. There's no more rhythmic bass in Tim. There's no more upbeat Adam to accentuate said rhythmic bass, which in turn has the effect of putting more focus onto the patrons. Here, go on, Chance. I like when the deeper basses sing at the top of their chest voices with this kind of slight rasp to their sound. To me, it sounds both unnatural and natural at the same time. I like it. Obviously, it's better suited to certain styles of music, but I think it suits this song very well. Alright, so I noticed that this part, when they're talking about scaling city walls, look at the bottom left, you can see Peter Hollens. He's showing an empty playground. I wonder if this is a coincidence or if he's done this on purpose to highlight the irony of those particular lyrics at the time of lockdown. And then at this point, actually, then we get Peter. Go on, Peter. That's the first time I've heard him do that. I mean, it's the second time that I've only really heard him sing, but stuff like this is good for me to hear because it helps me understand someone's voice better. And then Austin is like, nope, step aside. He goes up to an F sharp there. A couple of Home Free reactions ago, I did their mashup, thinking out loud, let's get it on. And I pointed how high Austin sang towards the end. That's the same note here. There, he's using his falsetto. Here, he's using this blended voice. Wow. And then to round it off, we get the patron choir, bigger than ever, louder than ever, with Peter and the Home Free boys each having their own solo riff, which when combined with each other creates this really nice counterpoint. But of course, they're still including sections where they're singing homophonically together, you know, in harmony together on the lyrics. Lord, I'm still running. Yeah, overall, I mean, it's just a feel-good video, really, isn't it? Which I find ironic because, one, the subject matter is not necessarily happy, you know, you still haven't found what I'm looking for, but also it's from a time that was extremely not feel-good. But I can only imagine that this video really brightened everyone's day who heard it and also those who took part, you know, it must have really, really brightened their time. Yeah, that was very nice. I'm very keen to explore much more of Peter Hollens and, of course, Home Free. Thank you to everyone who let me know about this one in the comments. Please comment down below other songs that you'd like me to react to. As always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content and want to support me, you can do so by joining the Patreon and YouTube memberships linked in the description below, and I will see you next time.